We lost something.
Don't worry, we're still flying half a ship. Boom. Welcome, everybody. Another happy landing. If you know that, I think we should start this. If you know which movie or episode the quotes are from, I want you to comment down below what quote is it from, who says it. Let's start a little game. Um, Welcome back, guys. Another happy landing. This is episode something, I don't know, but we are here to
Episode
review
15.
15. We are here to review season 3 of Clone Wars.
And the
Uh,
book. I just
oh,
finished the
you
book.
finished the book? Okay,
I finished
cool.
the
We
book.
can talk about the other book. So why don't we start with the book? Let's start with the novel. We finished the first. I finished it a little bit ago. And then side note, just while I was waiting for Tanner, I've been meaning to start Game of Thrones books on Audible, and I'm only like 5 hours into the behemoth that book is. But my God, am I enjoying the heck out of it? And it's awesome. But anyway, so. I know I've talked on the channel already on the show about my thoughts a lot more, and I'll jump in, but I'm more curious, Tanner. You've already read it. Did it hold up as well? Were you a little down on it? What did you think of the book?
Honestly, I still think that all of the moments that I really remember from the book, I personally think really hold up. Love them. Like we've said before, all of the every single original trilogy character moments that we get in there, they feel so true to the characters that we get in from immediately after the episode of Return of the Jedi. And it's just a really fun romp through the galaxy. I love being able to the Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker back and forth that we get
Yeah,
on what is it, Bipfash, I think. And every single moment with Thrawn, I absolutely just eat it up because even though again, he is the Moriarty of the Star Wars universe, and he's you see the logic in all of the things that he's doing, and there's a lot of he runs you through the thought process through his fellow admiral that he has with him there as well,
yeah.
to really kind of process through what exactly he's thinking and so on. But even then, it's uh even though he's this incredibly intelligent and smart individual, he still has losses here and there. And that's something I think that can be really important for a villain. The only thing that I was down on, we talked about this a little bit, is my God, the Wookiee scenes were so hard. I thought I remember
They're
enjoying
brutal.
those. I thought I remember enjoying those way more when I read this, way back when. And I was like, man, I'm actually pretty excited. And I started listening to it again, and I'm like, oh, this is so tough.
It's brutal, and it's nothing on Mark
Right.
Thompson or the narrator who did it originally. It's just
The decision that they went with.
it's the decision Lucasfilm made,
Right.
and it's brutal. It's brutal, but yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I really liked the book.
The Sluice
I
Van attack, I was looking forward to so much, and I would love to see that on the silver screen.
So how old is Luke in this? What do you
Luke,
picture him as? Because they don't tell us. So because I don't remember them ever saying how long this is after um, Return of the Jedi, but he does not seem like he's not like Last Jedi Mark Hamill age.
no, 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 no.
He's like primed up. Like to me, it was like
2 years afterwards, I would say.
Battlefront 2, or Mandalorian Luke,
Yeah, I
like primed
completely
up,
agree.
ready to go. Because I know you mentioned when we talked a little bit about it 2 weeks ago that you wish this is more of the direction they went with the sequels, and I just don't know if they could have done that because
Hmm.
of if they kept without having to recast.
Right.
I still hold that if they did recast, Sebastian Stan would honestly be excellent as Luke Skywalker. Um, um, but yeah, I really like the book too. I'm excited to read the rest of the trilogy and then go into the new Thrawn trilogy and see the differences. Um, but
Oh,
yeah, I'm with you on everything. What?
it's five. It takes Heir to the Empire begins 5 years after Return of the
So
Jedi.
that's Mandalorian Luke, boom, to a T.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So I like it. I loved the Han and Lando stuff. Um, you notice how I was thinking this so much, especially towards the end. just so much of what Disney said with Rise of Skywalker. We need the three back together. The three are always together. They were always together in the original trilogy. And it's like, were they really always together? They really kind of weren't. And
Mm-hmm.
then they kept saying that. And then I read this book, and it's like, oh, this beloved EU book, Legends book. And guess who's not together? The crew. They're
Right.
not together for most of the movie or for the book. But it does, man. Audible's the best because it just, I'm sitting there listening to a movie, and I love that
Right.
I'm listening to a movie, and I can work out during it, or walk around my classroom cleaning things or grading. But yeah, I really really loved the book as well. I think it's really cool. There's a lot of cool themes. There's stuff with Thrawn that they've clearly taken. That Dave Filoni is clearly a fan of this franchise. I'm very curious who wrote this book.
Timothy
Do you remember
Zahn.
So, and Timothy Zahn wrote the new Thrawn trilogy as well, I
He
believe, the
did.
canon
Correct.
one. So
Mhm.
I'm very curious to see how much of that translates over, how much of that same Thrawn. Because right now, if you could, all of this is the same Thrawn to me. The Thrawn in
Right.
Rebels, the Thrawn I've been introduced to, is all the same Thrawn, which it shows a lot of great writing that you can keep a character so perfect that he really is the Moriarty of this. I love that comparison. And for those of you that don't know, Moriarty is from Sherlock Holmes. Um, but he really is like the mastermind villain,
Yeah.
compared to the Emperor, who has power behind him. And he is cunning and smart. Same with Vader. But I do want to say, I'm going to say this is complete tangent just popped in my head. But I have to say it. So if you watched the Falcon Winter Soldier video last week, because this comes out after, um, I mentioned, so Tanner was part of this. We, in our movie club or whatever, did like a big superhero bracket last weekend when this airs, and we got into a bunch of fights, and there was so many discussions about, and some people brought up that Heath Ledger's Joker is the greatest villain of all time. And I honestly sat back, and he's up there. He's two for me. But I sat back and was like, I just think somebody's forgetting who Darth Vader is, sir.
Right.
I was like, I even whispered that to him. I was like, Darth Vader? Excuse me? Um, Darth Vader is amazing. Sure, I guess you could argue that Darth Vader goes good, but get the heck out of here with that. Anyway, I really like the book. So I do want to ask, Tanner, do we continue, or since we're in the middle of Clone Wars, do we take a break and we read, what's it called? The one about
Dark Disciple.
Dark Disciple, yes.
Yes,
Do we
that
take
is.
a break and read that
I
while
think that'd
we're...
be a good idea.
I agree.
I was trying to. I was also trying to figure out if there's another like Clone Wars book that would be good to listen to coming up to that. Just because if we were able to like complete this book or like read this book by the end of Clone Wars, I think would be the most impactful. But honestly, I think that like no matter what, since we're in the middle of reading it, and heck, I mean, we just watch Asajj get like
Yeah,
axed by Dooku, so I mean, this feels like the perfect time to do it now.
I agree. I'm gonna look up on Audible real quick. What was it called? Dark Disciple?
Dark Disciple, correct. Who's got Quinlan Voss, who we met, I believe. Yeah, that was this season when Obi-Wan and Quinlan Voss have their little back and forth. I think when they're looking for Savage Opress.
Is
And
this the
then
right one by Mark? This is another Mark Thompson's just everywhere. Based on the unproduced episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, this novel features Asajj Ventress, former apprentice turned bounty hunter. Um, it's 11 hours long. Not too bad. Longer than Padme, but I'm with you. I think we should do it. To be fair, we're moving a week, but we're going to be pretty close to the end if we don't finish this week. We're going to be pretty close to the end.
right,
Anyway, so I say we go for it, and then if we find another book that involves the Clone Wars, we could do that as well. But I'm all for it. I say we do it.
sounds good to me.
All right, so that'll be our next book. Do you have any other thoughts on Heir to the Empire you wanted to mention real quick, or should we move to the show?
So I guess, or just real quick, I mean, just thinking about, like the Sluis Van attack was something that was constantly like built up in the book, and it's something he's like always talking about preparing for. He's like, no, we cannot stop the Sluis Van attack. We've been like preparing way too much for this, and this is one of the most important things to me. And then just the interest that you get in there, that he's the kind of villain where he sends out those mole miners into the rebel ships to try and capture them. But
Yeah,
he is he's the kind of guy where he's given the rebels a really really tough decision of, they're sitting inside the ships right now and they're about to capture them wholesale, or they have the option of just reactivating them and blowing a hole through the entire ship, in some cases just breaking them in half. So the option of either, okay, you can give up the ships wholesale, or you can destroy your own ships. One of the two, you got to
yeah,
pick it. Good luck.
yeah. No, I like that. I like that point. It was a good book. I liked it. I'm excited to read the next one.
I am
I am
curious.
excited for Dark Disciple as well.
You
What's up?
you previously had brought up I brought up the idea of like it being moved to the silver screen, and I think I remember you saying that there were some issues that you might find with it. I'm curious what some of those issues you might find.
So putting it one, I mean, the biggest issue is that you'd have to recast everybody.
Right.
And I mean, let's speak from, if this was the conversation before they made the sequel trilogy we have, and they were discussing if this is it. So the cast is too old,
100%.
and um, I'm trying to remember because I've got so much of that Game of Thrones book in my head. I have to kind of push back. Uh, there's some of the stuff that I didn't love. I don't love that Obi-Wan and Yoda like are cut off from Luke.
Mm-hmm.
I never liked that, and I got the point of them doing it, so that it was like, all right, Luke is finally on his own as a Jedi, but I don't think that's fair. I think you constantly get help and advice from your mentors, even
Right.
in the afterlife, and that's the cool thing. And I didn't love some of that Force stuff, and so that was my biggest turnoff, along with the age. And I just sat back and kind of thought, like, would some of this work on the big screen? So I
Mm.
think, like, if you do this Heir to the Empire, like Thrawn is not in it a whole lot in this first book.
You
Um,
don't think so?
I didn't think so. I felt like
Oh.
we were with the heroes a lot more. But I was also expecting it to be, because I had never read it, so I was expecting it to be pretty much Thrawn the
Oh,
whole
got it.
time, and it feels more. I mean, it's more of the heroes to me, and Thrawn is great in it. But I also didn't love the whole dark Jedi thing. I know this was before some of the stuff, and we talked about it, but like, I don't think that would translate great on the silver screen. I think a lot of people would get pretty furious with that. I think it works fine in a book form, but
Are you talking about like would you be less upset if they called them a Sith instead, or
I
yeah,
probably would be more okay with it if he was a Sith trying to get Luke to turn to the dark side again. But then I've been there, done that. Right? Is
right?
that the sequel trilogy I want? Um, so that's just where I was at with some of the things I don't think would work. Would it have been better than what we got? I don't know, but
I think that in order for this to happen, um oh gosh, I think the latest that you could do it would probably be something like, because what Return of the Jedi came out in 80. Okay, I don't remember this. I need to look this up.
clearly
Return.
I need to fight you in a trivia battle after you've had a late night.
1983.
1983.
1983. I think the latest that you could have done something like this would have been something like, I don't know, call it 1989 would be the latest.
Yeah,
But I
you
think
would need a
that's when you
young
need to
Mark.
do it, right? What?
Um,
definitely a younger Mark. I mean, I don't think that it would be too out of line to uh
Recast.
I don't well now you have to recast, and that's tough.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that like again, ultimate dream would be if they did do a recast and then just shot this trilogy of movies as like a legend movie series, which if I'm being frank, I honestly do think that something like that could be in the bag at some point.
That's not a bad idea if you paint it as legends. The
Mhm.
question is how many people just get way too confused. You know what I mean?
True. I guess the Star Wars has such a rich history of things to be able to pull upon, and a lot of different eras and things that they can go to. Uh,
Yeah.
and I guess there's just no doubt in my mind that at some point they will do something with these particular books, whether that be an animated series, which honestly I would be all about that. That'd be amazing. Um,
Yeah.
or if they just decide to take it to if they do just decide to take it to a 3-part movie thing. But
And we are
sooner or
getting
later, I think
Thrawn
it's
in
possible.
Ahsoka. We're getting Thrawn in Ahsoka. So,
True.
um, that might be where they pull a lot of this stuff. Yeah, you just never know. It's hard. I mean, if Game of Thrones proved anything, it's easy and then incredibly difficult to adapt books,
Right.
um, and whatnot. But it would be something I'm curious in. My AirPods are kind of freaking out. I don't know
I just
why.
the thing that I guess I appreciate this compared to the sequels because don't like I really like Force Awakens and I'm just not that big a fan of the last two. But
Making a lot of
um
arguments last night though about how great Infinity War is for them to lose, and then they lose in the Last Jedi, and it's all of a sudden a problem. I
they
know we're
don't
getting fired
feel
up
like
about
they
it.
lose though. They don't.
There's like two
Like
of them left.
they
Anyway,
come
continue what you were gonna
together and
say.
they hug and then Kylo's going
We'll get there.
no.
We'll get there. We'll
Anyways.
get there.
So it oh shucks, what was I saying? Yeah, I really do think that there is potential for like there's very much potential for this. Do I think that some of the stuff could be adapted? Yes, and also just saying you might be kind of surprised of any possible Force ghosts coming back in the future, but who
Ooh.
knows?
So they're retconning. All right. All right.
No. They said they. I don't know if you remember in that line. He said like I will. It will be a long time till I see you again.
Where is he gone? Will they tell me that?
Maybe.
I hope so.
Let's get into the show. Let me know if you can still hear me, if you don't hear me again, Tanner. But let's talk about the show. So, is there any episodes that you want to just take off right off the bat of season 3? Did you like this more than season 2? Less?
I think I liked it equal because the highs are really high on this one, but some of the lows I'm just not as crazy about.
Yeah.
I think compared to the best episodes in this one are better than the previous season that we watched, season 2. But I think season 2 as a whole through line, I think it has a better product maybe. But now that I actually like look through all these episodes again, I'm like, man, there's a couple of bangers in here. But dude, the one that I'm super excited to talk about with you, and I'm going to save it a little bit because there's some other things that I'd like to get to it before we go there, is the Mortis ones. I genuinely think that the Mortis story arc is the highlight of this season.
15 through 17?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just talk about it. No, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because I sent you a message that I thought episode 15 slaps. And then I got a little more down on it as the episodes went on.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to have this conversation. Do you start though? What did you think of the arc?
So I just it starts to take the Star Wars universe in a far more abstract and very mythological direction. With when we're talking about the father, the son, and the daughter, the wills of the Force, and also
so they
Anakin
are the
getting to
wills.
choose.
Are they the wills?
No. They are not the wills.
That's what I thought.
as far as we know, like, and as far as I understand, I know there's a number of video essays I've been like meaning to watch around the significance
Should
of
send those to me.
the Mortis story arc. I absolutely will. But I've been meaning to watch them for a long time. But
Let me ask real quick, actually. I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you real quick. So let's just go through this again in my head and then for the viewers. So in this arc, Padme, Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan crash land on a planet, and they meet a former Jedi who had left with his children, right? I swear they said something about how he left the temple, that he was a Jedi at one point. I swear I remember that.
Really?
Am I just making things up?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I might be making things up, but then his son and his daughter are keeping balance for the rest of the universe. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. All right, you may continue. I just wanted to get my bearings straight.
As far as I know, these beings are just like beings of pure force. That it's almost like they are godlike beings, but they're mortal as well. But I mean, like they
extremely powerful in the Force.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, like, heck, they're able to. The son is able to transform into a bat, like a giant bat. Meanwhile, the daughter is able to transform into this like chimera
owl
creature.
It's to me.
Oh, it's crazy. There's a ton of symbolism and also like foreshadowing that does exist of like the actions that happen back and forth of the daughter being murdered by the dark side and then the father having to take his own life in order to keep his son in check. I love the arc as a whole.
So I really like the arc too. I got very high on it and then got very low on it.
Oh, really?
And I'll tell you why. First of all, the pattern when they first saw everything, when the bat when he was the bat, she was the owl, and then there was that like crazy design on the ground, looked very similar to the design that shows up when then Ezra in Rebels goes into the like time thing,
right?
Which I really liked that. So the parts I didn't like is the father trying to convince Anakin to take his place. I didn't like that. And I also didn't like that the death meant that now we're going into this chaos of darkness. That because now all that has happened, we're going into this chaos of darkness because now there's no balance. I didn't like that these three individuals are the reasons or causes for everybody else with the Force, because to me, the Force has quite a bit of free will in it, even though it does point you in a direction. And so that stuff I didn't like. Anakin turning and seeing his future and then getting his mind wiped, I actually enjoyed quite a bit. And I liked the family stuff with this father and son, and I thought it would have worked better if they didn't have those lines of dialogue of like, Anakin, you need to take my place to keep my children in check for the rest of your life, because if one kills the other, then they will the whole universe will go out of bed. Like that to me I didn't like. And I thought that was a little too much, to the point where I was in my head, it's like, okay, I don't even think that that's actually true. That these people just believe that, but it's not actually true at the end of the day. But everything else I thought worked. Ahsoka being there didn't mean much. She didn't do much in the show in this arc. She kind of just fixes the ship and then helps Obi-Wan get around.
Well, she also gets controlled by the sun for.
I guess she does do that. All that stuff I thought was good when it was grounded on like the human aspects of it, but when they got a little too mystical, I thought it went a little too ridiculous, and it took away from like Anakin being the chosen one at times. And I'll be honest, I didn't love the design of the daughter. She looked a little bit like she was out of Legend of Zelda video game,
Oh, you didn't
and
like
I
that?
didn't. I
Aw.
didn't love it. But it was okay. It grew on me more as it went on. I really
Yeah.
didn't like it at first, but it got better. But I really liked the arc. I thought it was good. I don't know if it's my favorite arc though in so
Of the
far in the show.
No, not in the show, but I think of this
Of this season,
season. What do you
probably.
think? Probably.
Probably, yeah. I did really like the Asajj Ventress stuff, though. I liked
Yes.
her and getting Maul's brother. I thought that was really good in the tease for Darth Maul. So I probably would give it to this, but I don't know. And I love when the Force goes mystical, but I just didn't like that. I thought some of the mysticism was taken away by some of the lines, which bothered me. But what do you think?
Some of the heavy-handedness, there is some like serious heavy-handedness / like almost biblical references with that we have of the back and forth between all of them, which I think works and it doesn't, but there's a lot more. This is the problem that I was really meaning to do a little bit more of a deep dive on this, but I haven't really dug into a lot of like the hidden meanings of what is happening here as well. I personally don't think that by just the sun existing on Mortis now, that is why the dark side of the Force is
Going to take over.
Right.
Yeah, and like the Emperor will rise to power because this sun did this.
Right.
I think that's too much.
I don't think I personally don't think that's actually the case, because the father takes his own life to prevent that from happening. If in essence, what I understand from this one is like the father has just made a massive mistake thinking that he's going to bring the chosen one in to solve these problems that they've had on this. And when like by him doing that, he ends up literally getting all three of them killed.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know, because I feel like I do feel like it's a fun little premonition of things to come. And so are you saying? So you said that you aren't a huge fan of basically we already by this point in time the sun reveals everything that will happen to him. You're not crazy
No,
about that?
I thought
Okay.
that worked fine.
Okay.
That he revealed the future. Anakin shouldn't have seen that future. And then his mind was wiped. All that was fine to me. The second he saw his future, I knew his mind was going to be wiped. Like the second it happened, I was like, all right, the dad's going to wipe his mind.
Right.
Or he'll hit his head really hard. Like something like that's going to happen. But I will say, I didn't like the dagger stuff very much. I didn't like the special sword. I was kind of at first like, oh, is this going to be like a cool lightsaber? And it wasn't, because even when I thought that, I was like, I'm trying to think of all the lightsabers it could be. It couldn't be, like, there's nothing it could be. And honestly, the dagger stuff felt very similar to like the dagger in Rise of Skywalker. It's like, what on earth are we doing with this dagger? Like, I get it's the weapon. Why is this sword the all powerful weapon for this guy? Or why is it the only way to kill? I thought it got a little bogged. I think it got a little too into itself at times, this arc.
Fair enough.
But I did really like it. I liked the Obi-Wan stuff.
I'd like to
and I did
revisit-
like some of the Anakin stuff.
I'd actually I want to do a little bit of a deep dive and kind of like dissecting some of the things of like the symbolism behind things.
If you send me those essays, because
Yes.
I'd be very curious as well if it changes my perspective. If somebody's got an angle I'm not seeing on this,
Right.
Somebody has a certain point of view on this
From a certain
arc.
point of view.
But
anyway, so the rest of the series, what were your thoughts? Any particular standouts?
Well, I loved the Night Sisters finally getting brought in through Monster, Witches of the Mist. I loved all the Dooku stuff, trying to, him getting double crossed. Her being Maul's brother being the official tease that Darth Maul is alive, that he's somewhere in the outer rim. I loved that. I actually, at first, I didn't think I was going to love it for like the first 15 minutes of it, but the Clone Cadets, the first episode, I ended up really liking.
Which then leads into the little complaint that I have about the Clone Wars. And I'm still trying to understand why they did this. But they like the time periods of this jump around all over the place. There's some episodes in season 5 that take place, then followed up by episodes, like chronologically speaking, that take place in season 1. It's confusing to me. For instance, in this, like Clone Cadets is one of them, because it goes Clone Cadets, then you jump back to season 1, then the episode Rookies take place, then you jump back to season 3 for ARC Troopers. It's a little wonky for me. And I don't entirely understand what the thought process behind that was. But dude, Clone Cadets is so fun. And then
it is fun.
Leads into one of my favorite episodes of the Clone Wars being ARC Troopers. I
liked ARC Troopers too.
ARC Troopers.
I liked them having to defend Kamino. I liked the thing. What was he? 93. The old man 99. Clone. 99. I liked him. I don't love that the Caminos in this are such a force in the Senate all of a sudden. But I like that they had to go control them, because throughout this season, they pop up a couple different times and argue for points of the Senate. And I just don't love that, because in Attack of the Clones movie, they always feel like that they are just there to make their bucks. Like, this is what they do. They're a business. And like, I don't know why they have a big political voice. I liked the ARC Troopers episode a lot, though.
I think I'll throw a little bit of a disagreement on. I actually do like that they do become involved in the Senate, because they're really like quiet, doing their own thing. And then once the clone army gets launched into this, and they start to play literally they're the army supplier for all of the Republic. And it only makes sense to me that Lama Su or another senator actually starts to step in to have some like a serious say in things that are happening around there. I guess if there was an other, like, I guess if there was like an ulterior power that was like supplying just a mass army for, say, the United States, that person, like the person doing that, would want a say in politics.
I still just don't like it.
Fair enough.
Episodes like Supply Lines, R2, D2, and C-3PO getting abducted and evil plans. And honestly, the finale, Wookiee Hunt, I didn't enjoy very much. They felt more kid to me.
Same.
Padawan Lost was okay. I liked Counterattack.
I didn't like the Citadel arc. I thought it went on way too long.
Yeah, I get that. I did like Counterattack, but I didn't love it. I actually didn't mind the Padme stuff for this episode, for this season. I actually kind of liked her going in and talking to a separatist, and I liked some of that politics. They're running out of money. They need more money. I thought that was fun. A good little side. Hunt for Zero, I thought was interesting, just seeing a different Jedi.
Right. Quinlan Voss. That's actually Quinlan Voss is the guy that goes with Asajj Ventress. So that's a good one to remember.
I'm actually really excited because I'm pretty much halfway through season 4 already. So I was going to say for Quinlan Voss, I liked seeing other Jedi, and then we'll get into season 4 with some stuff that happens with the Jedi that I really liked. But season 3 I thought was a good season. I think I still liked season 2 more.
Yeah.
But I thought this was a good season. We're definitely, I think every season it feels like getting less and less with the kid episodes. It felt like there were less kid episodes in this one, and more just good episodes. I mean, yes, the show's made for kids, but I look at Avatar: The Last Airbender. That entire show from start to finish is for kids, and every single episode from start to finish is awesome. Like, it's just the truth. So I wish Clone Wars had tried to do that a little bit more. But what were you going to say?
Night Sisters, you're 100%. There are like 1 or 2 episodes in Avatar: The Last Airbender, I must say, that I usually like. I'm not like, I'm going to skip this, but I'm just like, I'd like to get to the next episode. There's only like 1 or 2 of that happening.
Sure,
And
but they don't feel kid to me. Even those episodes don't feel kid to me. They just necessarily don't move the plot. But maybe that's just me. But I mean, I'm also rewatching it right now. So
no kidding.
Well, just with the kids.
Oh yeah.
I've been showing it. We watch an episode a day at snack time.
But the Night Sisters. Now that I'm also thinking about it, though, too, like anything to do with the Night Sisters arc in this one, I think that arc as a whole just slaps. We get introduced to
me too.
what is it? Asajj gets axed by Dooku, which then leads into her trying to get revenge on him, and then creating Savage Opress, which
the
naming convention for him is not not great, but it works. It really works. Oh, dude, the opener, I think, of Witches in the Mist, I think it is, when Dooku's like, you must we must make sure that you are ready and that you are worthy to be my apprentice, and then he sends him with a droid army, and they get the Jedi Council get the recording of him just like brutally taking out both the master and apprentice on that planet. I was like, oh, I forgot about that episode. That's awesome.
No, I'm with you. I really liked it. It was a quick line, but I loved that when they were looking at the hologram that Obi-Wan was like, wait, I killed Maul. And they're like, no, that's not Maul. There's more of them. And I like that it's a quick little, it's not really a retcon, but this is the way that some of the sequels have struggled handling lore, where he just says, well, I thought he was born. I can't remember the planet name. He said, I thought he was from this planet. And he goes, no, that's just where he did like his training, but he was born on Dathomir, or maybe I had that vice the other way around. But
right.
Like a quick line like that, you've maybe bent the canon a little bit because you wanted to change something up, but it worked. And I liked that quite a bit. And Obi-Wan reaction to seeing somebody like Maul, I thought was really good, and they played it really well.
Right.
Yeah, I really liked this season. Do you have anything else, or are we kind of wrapped up here?
Trying to remember. Favorite episode. Heroes on Both Sides. I actually liked. Something that I really appreciate the Clone Wars does is, yes, we have the understanding, and they try to paint it very black and white of like, this is good, like good versus bad. But something that I really do appreciate that Clone Wars does is, in a couple of episodes, it does actually paint some of the Separatists and just Separatists as a whole as like, they're people too, just with different thoughts. They're
a certain point of view.
And that's why when Padme goes to Lady Bon Terry and they have that like back and forth of trying to make peace. I just really like being able to see that the show gives perspective to both sides. Obviously, the Separatists are being controlled by Dooku and also very, very bad people. So I mean, like they are objectively the bad side of things, I would say. But a lot of the systems that are involved in it are just like, no, we just didn't want to have to deal with the Republic anymore.
Yeah. And I liked the politics,
yes.
And that's what George wanted to do with this show. And
which is weird to say because we're sitting over here going like, man, lightsabers are cool. But yeah, I guess I'm really excited about it. I must admit I'm not terribly excited for the first 3 episodes of season 4. Being the underwater attack. I do not like that arc. I really don't.
Let me see what episode I'm currently on here. My Disney Plus app. I had to.
But I'm stoked. I'm stoked for Darkness on Umbura arc. That's a 4-episode arc. My God.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, no, that's the arc I really want to talk about next week. I'm on episode 12, Slaves of the Republic.
Ooh.
About to get into some of the stuff I'm really, 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 really excited for with Maul. So, all right,
Deception. Oh man, it's gonna be a good season.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Well, again, these are a little bit shorter because the seasons are shorter. But for another happy landing, I think I forgot to do this at the start of the show. But thank you to the Movie Meal patrons. If I didn't say that, I'm sorry, Steve, Kimberly, and Karen. But everybody, you guys are awesome. Go get some Movie Meals merch. Go check out everything we do on this channel. Thank you for the love and the support. Comment your thoughts on the Clone Wars, all that good stuff. And for another happy landing, we are out of here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.